ask something? Because Raul said something last week that was kind of contradictory to what he's saying today. Because last week he told me to go F myself because color didn't matter, and I don't care what color you are for the, for procreating and children and all of that. But this week he says if there was a group of women, I would go directly to blonde women, which I'm assuming means white because most people that are blonde are white.
So you want to talk to a black girl with blonde hair, Raul Duke?
I mean, how hot is she?
Like a 9, and then her blonde wig makes her a 10.
Absolutely. And I apologize, Amira. I was just teasing. I didn't tell you to go fuck yourself. I was using that in the royal we to all the assholes that were at the opposite end of my discussion.
Now, if you date the same sex, then you can answer however you choose. But the question is, if you were to enter a room with 100 people of the opposite sex, and they were all equally divided into different races, right? What race do you automatically gravitate to first, and why? So equal amount of like Asians, white, Hispanic, black, like what race do you automatically like seek out first? Icebreaker. Anybody can go. And if you're not comfortable answering, you don't have to. This is a fun question.
Yeah, Fee had a very important thing to say. Fee wanted to say something really important.
You're on mute, Fee.
For me, it would be automatically someone who's like melanated. Like anybody could be from anywhere, but like darker. Preferably like my skin tone or darker. Because I personally like my parents, because I'm from Bangladesh, and there was a lot of colonization with like England, a lot of white people there, and there was murder and all that stuff. So they don't really allow me to be with white men, or they would be kind of like turn on, a negative tone to it. So yeah, so anybody who is brown or black.
This is a weird. So this is kind of like the new school lunchroom theory going on. You know what I mean? So you at a new school, you don't know anybody, and science says you're going to gravitate to the people that look like you. So I'll say that I think my charm and my individual, like the way I talk to people, has always been geared toward, I know what to say to be invited to sit at that table. If it was, like let's say black people there, but I don't know if I'm being genuine to myself to say that's where I would go. I think I would actually go to, like Fee says, more melanated people, but the people who are least judgmental. Right? Because you got a lot of people that be like, you can't sit here, So I try to read the room.
Like Forrest Gump, you can't sit here.
You can't sit here. Because that could be melanated people too. I ain't gonna lie.
So you're gonna find your Jenny on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
So are they all like 10s? Like that's kind of like, if they're all 10s, it makes it the question harder, right? Because then at that point, I've got to make like a intrinsic decision. Like, okay, what do they think about certain things? Like, but to me, like, it really doesn't matter, right? If they all look good, then I want them all. But if they all look good and they sound dumb, then I don't want so many. I don't want too many of them. So, that's kind of my viewpoint on it. I don't really care what the color looks like. But I can understand the whole melanated thing. Like I think in an idealistic world, assuming that I have 100 women that's just there and pretty and want me, that's already idealistic. So we're going to take away colonization too. All right. So that means I don't care. Like, there we go.
Okay. Kyle, do you want to answer? If you're married and you don't want to answer, you don't have to.
No. So can you repeat just what the icebreaker question was, just to make sure I'm clear on everyone else said?
If you enter a room with 100 people of the opposite sex, and they're all different races, like evenly divided, who do you gravitate towards to first and why?
Then yeah, I think I would echo what everyone else has already said. Probably, black and brown people, more than likely black people, if I'm keeping it all the way real. I feel like regardless of, in any situation, I'm going to more than likely go towards the people that look like me or go towards a section of an area where their interests might align with mine. So I've most certainly wouldn't go to the white people. I feel like that just probably would not be something I would do. You know what I mean? I would have a lot of love. Hopefully, once the event starts going and we get to intermingling, then we can start to meet each other. But I would start off without knowing anybody at all. I'll more than likely go over to the black people or Latino people or however we want to say it.
Okay.
Just because I would assume that we already have things in common or we already have a shared experience. So, I would just automatically assume that we can relate to each other without even having spoken a word.
Okay. Raul, do you have anything to add?
I'm going to gravitate to the blonde girls. So it's going to be white chicks with blonde hair. It can't only be blondes. I've dated plenty of girls with different color hair, but they have a unique advantage. I actually used to be a little blonde. I used to be a dirty blonde. And I find that to be the most attractive trait. I am very much attracted towards women with blonde hair. So it's the white girls with blonde hair.
White girls with blonde hair. Okay. Amir, did you want to answer the question?
Pardon me. I would go to the person that's least like myself because in my culture, they are. You said it's all men, right? It's all opposite sex, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
In my culture, it's so hard to be around the men of my same culture because they are like, yeah, no. I probably wouldn't be in a room like that because I'm married, but yeah, I wouldn't go around other Arab men because they can be like, they could know my father, they could know someone, they could start talking about me and starting rumors. So
I see. That makes sense. Well, I'll answer. Did everyone get a chance to go? I'll answer.
Yeah, you're the only one who hadn't gone yet.
Okay, I'll answer. The way I operate, I automatically, when I go into a room, like say I'm going to a party or a ball or a gala or something, and there's a bunch of people I don't know, my eye will automatically catch black guys first. Like I'll just see. Now I'm kind of like cheeky, like if the black guys aren't really that attractive, I'm like, okay, so now we'll start looking at the other races. But I don't even see the other races first. And I wondered, I thought to myself, why do I do this? And I think because I have a black father and he was such a great man, I automatically deem great man as being black. So I look at that first. But I don't rule out other races. I just see black first. So if that helps, that makes sense.
I think a lot of people feel that way, though. I think when you enter a room, it's like that's your natural reaction is going to be to see the people who kind of look like you, until they start acting out and start talking. I think what Amira said is, maybe men of her culture act a certain way, but I would imagine that you would still notice them first. Your eyes would still go to them first. Your experience with them might be a certain way, but you might still feel naturally inclined to want to be over with this group of men. Like if you could guarantee that they're going to act a certain way, you more than likely will go over to that group of men.
Right. But if they're not acting, go ahead, Amir.
I have something because Raul said something last week that was kind of contradictory to what he's saying today. Because last week he told me to go F myself because color didn't matter and I don't care what color you are for the, for procreating and children and all of that. But this week he says, if there was a group of women, I would go directly to blonde women, which I'm assuming means white because most people that are blonde are white.
So you want to talk to a black girl with blonde hair, Raul Duke?
I mean, how hot is she?
Like a 9, and then her blonde wig makes her a 10.
Absolutely. And I apologize, Amira. I was just teasing. I didn't tell you to go fuck yourself. I was using that in the rural we to all the assholes that were at the opposite end of my discussion. I definitely did not mean to say that to you specifically, Amira. So once again, I apologize for that right now if that's how you took it.
No, don't. I'm okay.
He actually did after the show. He was like, make sure she knows I wasn't like serious.
No, that was just me ranting.
Yeah.
No, 100%. I believe we're all the same. You know, as far as intrinsically, are we all worth the same? You said that it was important for white people to have more babies in America. And I asked you if it was intrinsically better for the white people to have them versus, say, the Hispanic. And then you dialed it back and you said, no, just everybody in America needs to have one. And that works out fine. So that's what we were talking about as far as that goes. What Kelly was asking was, if you just walk into a room with 100 hot women, where do your eyes automatically go? And Kelly was very honest. Her eyes automatically go to the black guys first. I wasn't offended by that. My eyes, I like, blonde white girls sexually first. It doesn't mean that they're better people than the rest of you or more worthy humans. It just means my sexual preference happens to tend that way. Now, I've dated many more women that have brunette hair than blondes. There's not that many blondes out there compared to brunettes or dark-haired women. So there's a difference between your intrinsic first shot sexual attraction and overall value as a human being. What I was talking with you last time, Amira, was the overall value of a human being, which is everybody's the same. But where do my eyes go first as far as being attracted? If I see blonde hair, I look that way. That's two different things.
Is it true that blondes really have more fun?
Sophie, what's her name? Sophie Vergara? What's her name?
Sophia Vergara.
Vargas.
Yeah, she. Somebody asked her that question because she's been blonde and brunette, and she answered honestly. You know what her answer was?
Yes.
The girl with the biggest boobs.
Oh, so it's not the hairs. Got it. Okay.
I didn't say that. Sophia.
I mean, now I know.
I would have said that.
Thank you, Mike.
Oh my goodness. I don't even know where this conversation is going.
No, Kelly said you look for the black man. That's your preference. Raul said he looks for the blondes. That's his preference.
Kelly,
I have a particular preference.